Hello guys, it's Andrew here back from PokeTips SA, and this time we're not talking Pokemon. We're going to talk about technology stuff that's relevant in my life. Actually, it's LTE internet connectivity. LTE you might feel is a little bit outdated. We've got 5G, everybody's got 5G, everybody's talking 5G and all that. But most people don't actually have 5G or 5G and will not be using it for quite a long time. So LTE is actually my internet connectivity I use right now. I don't have fiber internet connectivity, so that's actually what I'm talking about. I'm not talking the type of speeds you can actually get of it. It's actually pretty fast. A lot of mobile operators has actually made LTE pretty fast and don't actually need 5G because yes, 5G is great, but it can't reach as far as LTE because of the wavelengths and all that. I'm not going to go into wavelengths in this video and how it works and why 5G is not as good because of the frequency it uses, but I'm going to be talking about LTE mainly. So, well, let's get into it and let's talk LTE. LTE is basically 4G and 4G plus, which you will see on most of your phones will show 4G plus. Some iPhones I think shows LTE, but that's basically internet connectivity. And most mobile operators has advanced their technologies to be pretty fast, even though it's type of old, like kind of old technology. It's still pretty fast and pretty relevant. And most of the time, you will probably be connecting with 4G or 4G plus on your cell phone. So what is the actual difference? 4G is where you're using one band. So one band, normally about 10 megahertz or 5 megahertz frequency in a band. That'll be 4G. I will give you 4G. Um, Theoretically, you can get up to 60 or 80 megabits in real world speeds with connecting in one band. That's if you have a band that reach pretty fast, so the 1800 megahertz band, and you have about 10 to 20 megahertz available in that band. Not a lot of mobile operators have that, but you can actually get pretty good speeds um, in that band if the mobile operator does have that frequency. Most of them have more frequency in the higher bands, the higher speeds one, the 2300, 2600 megahertz band. That doesn't reach that far and it's not for great for indoor. It does give you pretty good speeds outdoor. But yeah, that's in theory that's 4G, one band connecting on that, and that will give you can give you up to a 60 80 megabits per second, which is pretty decent for day-to-day usage. I think that's not too bad. 4G plus, which you will see most time on your phone, you will probably be connecting on 4G plus, and if you have a decent LTE router, which you will probably be connecting 4G plus. Um, that's where using two bands. You're using so I'll take an example which I'm connecting. I've got the Huawei B618, and that is connecting in the 1800 megahertz band plus the 2100 megahertz band. So I'm using two antennas connecting to two bands. So that gives me pretty good speed. I get to 140, 160 megabits per second. So that's actually faster than fiber, even though it's a wireless technology. That's why it's still relevant. That's why I'm using it. The only internet connectivity available except is for the VDSL 40 megabits, which the line was only syncing about 50 megabits. So that's why I moved to LTE when an uncapped deal was available, which became available on Black Friday. So I signed up immediately and I'm using that, and it's fantastic. It does give me a bit of a worse ping, but I'm not such a good online gamer, or rather have the greatest speeds with everybody YouTubing, Netflixing in my house and uploading videos pretty fast. I get a 40 megabits upload where I had only 10, so my videos process pretty quickly. So that's why I'm using that, and that's how it works. So let's talk routers. A lot of the people don't understand why I need a more expensive router and why this router is better, what not. So the most common router you will see on Facebook Gumtree is the Huawei B3515. 315, sorry. That's the most common router. That's a single band router. Connect to one band in a LTE band at the same time. So it does not give you great speeds. It does come with external antennas normally, bunny hop antennas, which looks like these. So it can improve your signal. So if you're in an area where you're a bit farther from the tower, because LTE speeds degrades pretty quickly if you're not far from the tower, maybe that's an option, the B1315. As I said, you mentioned maximum 60 to 80 megabits. On a good day, that router is really limited. It also has very slow internal Wi-Fi. only on 2.4 gigahertz and 100 megabits LAN port. So it's pretty old now, but it's the most common router you will see. If you're moving up, if you want a bit of faster speeds, gigabit speeds, there's the Huawei B612, B35, B3, sorry, B535. There's also the B525. Those are all multiple bands. So they have, I think, all 5 gigahertz internal Wi-Fi. They can connect to two LTE frequencies at the same time. And yeah, they will give you pretty good speeds. I think they have gigabit ports, all of them. I can't confirm if all the mobile operators in your country will support them. In South Africa, I think all of them will support the multiple LTE frequencies and give you pretty good speeds. As I mentioned, well over 100 megabits. These routers can reach if you have a good signal and your mobile operator has the available bandwidth to give you that. So those are pretty good routers to consider. As I mentioned, the B535, that's a pretty new one. B525, older generation, still good. And the B612, that's a pretty new one. And a lot of mobile operators are currently still giving that router. Yes, there's a bit of a mention on that router. I do have that router, and it came with my LTE package, but it is limited in speeds. The internal Wi-Fi is pretty slow as well on it, so something to keep in mind. I still get like 80 megabits on it, so it's fine for regular family or whatnot. But if you want the base speeds, it's probably not the best router. But I think the other two, the B525 and B535, will be better options if you're buying a router. But here is another thing. There's still better routers out there. This is the best of the best, as I would mention, is the B618 and the B818. Now, the B618 can be bought pretty cheaply because it's an old model, but it was the best router available. So it supports multiple LTE frequencies, it supports AC wireless, it's got gigabit ports, only two ports, remember that, where most of the other routers will have 4 ports. This one only has 2, and that's the router I'm using. I picked it up on Facebook Marketplace for just over 1,000 South African rands. I'm pretty happy with it. It gives me 140 to 160 megabits because I've got 20 megahertz available in the 1800 megahertz band and 10 on the 2100 megahertz band. That's on MTM. So that's pretty good speed. MTM actually has, I think, 5 megahertz on the 800 megahertz band for if you're very far from the tower, but I think there's a limit of like 20 megabits on that band. So it will only connect to that band if you are very far from it. But if you have a cell phone, a newer cell phone, you can actually use all 3 bands to connect to that, so you can get almost 200 megabits on a cell phone on the MTM network, which is really fantastic. Unfortunately, MTM's fixed LTE limits you to routers. I'm not sure why they didn't add any new routers. It's been years, the same routers are still supported, which is the B612, B525, and some ZTE router and the B618. So I'm using the 618, it's the fastest router available, so I'm using that right now, and my internet's pretty good with that router. But yeah, so if you want the best of the best, the 618, price for performance, you can pick it up pretty cheaply used, and as it's compatible with MTM fixed LTE, you will probably want to have that one. If you really want the best of the best, the B818 supports pretty much all the bands, multiple frequencies, and it's quite a beast. It's quite expensive. I haven't seen much on the used market, and I'm not interested in it because it's not supported by MTM fixed LTE, but it could use that extra 5 megahertz in the 800 or 900 megahertz band that the network, that MTM network has as well. But again, as I mentioned, it's not supported currently. So as it will connect, as I mean, it's technically supported, but they check the MAC address. If the MAC address is not from one of the models, they block your connection. So it's pretty stupid how they work, but they don't want you to move around or use non-routers that's not supported, even though in theory it's supported, they're just not allowing it for some reason. But that's just on MTM. If you live anywhere else in the world, I think you can use that router and you will get pretty good speeds. Just check with your network, but they should allow it. And most other networks do allow any router to be used. It's just MTM. But again, it kind of it's for them to monitor as well the network and stuff. They don't want to have, if everybody has the best router, the towers can get congested on all the bands, etc. So maybe there's some reasoning behind it, because MTN in my country does run the best, fastest mobile network. So they must be doing something right, even though they're blocking some routers not to be used. Their network runs pretty well, so that's not too bad. Um, you can use this router if you're on a non-fixed LTE deal, but then you don't have uncapped, and I think you're pretty limited on data options. Because you have to take out a normal mobile contract and stuff like that. So that's not where fixed LTE is pretty good because of the uncapped deal that they're offering, and they're still offering it. So that's pretty good to have. But yeah, that's how LTE works and the kind of speed you can expect. But as I mentioned, you can still get great speeds on LTE. It's still in development. Um, Mobile networks are still upgrading towers to run LTE better because of the reach and the wavelengths it uses. So don't always say 5G is the way to go. LTE has still some life left back in it. So yeah, thanks again guys for watching this video where I explain a bit of LTE technologies and stuff like that, and how it works in my country, South Africa. If you like the video, like it, subscribe if you want to see some more content. I'll try and get some more tech related content related. I'm in the tech industry, so but I do like Pokemon very much. So yeah, I'll try to give some more tech videos. Yeah, thank you very much guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.